For people not familiar with Kenny Veach, I'm going to start out in Las Vegas for perspective. This is Las Vegas, and Kenny Veach lived up here. As a matter of fact, he lived right there. I have a stick pin right where he lived. So he would go hike up here, and he spent the night at Gas Peak. In other words, he was going taking hikes relatively close to where he lived. Okay, so there's the area up here. So there's Las Vegas again. So let's go first to the mcave. I want to say first that while I give my theories and my thoughts about how far he could have made it or would have made it, remember that the anniversary is November 10th. It's November 6th. And look at how cold it gets out there. By 5 or 6, it's dark and it's cold quickly. It's not the summer where you can still see some daylight at 10 o'clock at night. No, at 5 or 6, it's cold. It's cold and it's dark. So that adds weight that he didn't go that far. Because to go up on your final hike, depressed, everything, he was losing everything, losing the house. He had been badgered a little bit about the mcave. He knew that he was lying about it. He took it to the grave. He didn't confess to Sherry-Ann, and she still believed him. She actually believed him right up, even after he went missing. She still believed him, that he believed in the mcave. Well, so he had her fooled. So imagine, he could have other people fooled in all kinds of areas his whole life. So anyways, so let's go to the mcave first. And then I'll talk about where he left the items at the mine. And that keep in mind that it gets dark and cold at 5 or 6. So he likely didn't go far hiking at night in the cold. And Kenny Veach, who doesn't prepare, but and then on his final hike of depression would do what? Prepare to hike for miles and miles and go to the north for 10 miles, and I'm just going to keep going. You're going to prepare to do that. Remember, the night before they had just had I don't know if they had dinner, but they watched the movie and gave their final tearful goodbyes and hugs, where she said, "You're not going to do a Robin Williams on me." That shows how sure suspicious he was that he could be very depressed and possibly commit suicide, which had been brought up multiple times. Okay, so that was the next morning is when he did it, when he went on his final hike. The next morning. So he would have been real prepared and do what? Go home for his final hike and pack and gear up and get sleep and then get ready at 3 in the morning or whatever to go up there. What's going to be your final hike where you don't need supplies? I say no. I say that he didn't go very far, that it's possible that he could have not slept. He could have been drinking on his final night at the house when he went to the house. How do we know he didn't go from the movie theater straight up to park at Sheep Range? That's possible. We don't know that. We only know like when he sent the text messages and so on and so forth. At any rate, the point is that it was only the night before that they went to the movie. And then he shows up here. He shows up here a few hours later, parks, goes up to the mine and leaves his belongings. He couldn't have been that prepared, or he wouldn't have prepared anyway, knowing what he was going to do. Therefore, with it getting dark and cold at 5 or 6, it gives what I believe great weight. It rules against that he would have traveled a great distance, like he said, to the north, or went up to the top. Remember that this is higher, and it's cold up there. It's cooler in the summer, and when it's cooler down here, it's much cooler up there. Up here is like 5, 6, 7,000 feet, whatever it is. I think up here you're getting up as high as Denver. So it's cooler and colder up there, possibly often windy. And so would he have climbed up to the top of the Sheep Range? Well, maybe he did it, and maybe I spent the night up there in better days, and he had to be rescued from up here because he says he blew out his knee, and he had phone pickup, so he called and had a helicopter come and get him. Okay, but on your last hike, after saying your cheerful boo-hoos and goodbyes, just hours before, would he have went up to the top and went up here and went past the Lost Forest, whatever? I don't think so. With it getting dark at 5 or 6 and cold, I lean against it. So for people that haven't seen this before, let's go to the mcave first for reference. Here's the mcave. It's not questioned that it's the mcave. A few people, you know, but that's the mcave right there, where he says, I'm coming up on it, but that's not the one I'm looking for. The one I'm looking for is deep. It's dark, dangerous, full of mountain lands. I'm going to take my gun up there, and okay, that's the mcave. Yeah, right there. And the covered mcave is like right there, the so-called covered mcave. Okay, so now let's go back and surmise where he could have went, how far, and where would a person go on the final hike. People do it. They commit suicide. They go up, and so it has to be talked about. They often leave keys and wallets on the dash, on the hood of the car, or elsewhere. Okay, he left his at the mine. Okay, there's the saddle, and here's the mine. There's where he leaves his belongings. He came up to his favorite place. So that alone says that he went to his favorite place. Why, therefore, would he be 50 or 100 miles away when he comes up here to leave his belongings at the mine and then traipses off? Well, where did he go? Well, he didn't go down here or across here. He would have been found. So I surmise that now coming up from the saddle, he had went up here before. He had took this route. That's where he says, I spent the night up there. Well, that's how he got up there. He went up here where everyone goes. Okay, so here's where the orange soda can is, right there. And then you keep going up, and you come to what I call Heart Attack Rocks, where Aqua Trigger turned around because he was gasping and was afraid he was going to have a heart attack. So I call that Heart Attack Rocks. That's where I turned around. I went up and up, and I went there. But I had no desire. I wasn't shooting for the top. But right here, I turned around instead of scaling the rocks and go up here and here. Okay, but now let's put ourselves in the mindset of Kenny Veach. He could easily have made it up here from after he left the coins and the cell phone at the mine. Up to the saddle. And just for reference, right in here, see, here's the mine, and then you come down, you go up to the saddle, you go down to the mcave. Okay, so right in here, see those trees? I was there. Right there is where he filmed him picking the pine nuts. Pinion nuts, pine nuts. Right in there. You can go right to the tree. Okay, so then you go up here, and then you go up here, because if he went up there, this is the way he went. And you go up here. Now, considering it's getting cold and dark, now the question is, think not like you're going on a hike. Don't think, well, he's coming down, he would have went off this cliff and got hurt. No, I say think like where would he go, like Brian Laundrie went. The Brian Laundrie principle. And just a reminder on that one, I said he won't be far from the car. He's going to be right by the car. He'll be in under a canopy of trees. And that's right where they went. And that's where they found him. He was like 200 feet in, and he went in through the trees under a canopy opening of the trees, and he shot himself. Okay, so now let's apply that concept. So here's these ravines. Now people go up ravines. Well, maybe he fell here. Maybe he fell here. Maybe he was coming down and he fell here. Okay, but it's more likely that he would be in a place off to the side, like you're up there, and perhaps he also didn't want to scale these rocks. And so he could have went over into here, which, remember, it's more rugged and there's more trees and stuff there than what Google Earth shows right here. So when it got down to the last minute and he had to decide, he could have said, well, first of all, he wasn't found here. He could have said, well, I'm not going to do it here and be found. I don't want to be found like my father was found. And he didn't find his father. Somebody else did. But he could have just simply went over into here and sat. Like, who would do it on the side of a 45-degree angle hill right here? Nobody. I mean, it's not logical. If you go up there and you're going to do what you're going to do, are you going to do it on the side of a 45-degree angle hill where you're struggling even to stand up? No, you're going to go over and sit down on a rock, something like this. You know, and I drew these lines up here as a place of interest a long time ago. But you see the mindset that there could be some place here where he goes down here and there's some trees and he sat on a little clearing with some rocks or whatever. In other words, it's not the exact spot to necessarily look at, it's a mindset. So if he didn't go very far, now he's coming up here. Now all of this would be easily attainable, but not to keep going all the way up. That would require exertion, planning, and more daylight. Remember, dark and cold, 5 or 6, you're in the dark and cold, possibly wind right up there where he's at. So you're getting up here to the point where he would have to make a decision about where it would be. And so areas like this, you would look not because, well, he would have went up here, he would have chosen this route, or he would have come down this route and got hurt. No, it is where to the side would a person go for the final moments to shoot himself. That's a totally different mindset. You see what I'm saying? Now look at right here, that like right in here, that it would be more level, and you're in among trees and bushes. So when people follow routes, now this is a route. You're going up this route and you're looking down here and over there. They're looking from the route, or he's coming down here, he could have fallen on this cliff. But no, if you look at areas off to the side where a person would go to get under a canopy, or even behind bushes and trees, sit on a rock in a little clearing, possibly finish off a little bit of booze or whatever, who knows, and then choose to do it there. It could be places like this, not on routes. First of all, he would have already been found, and second of all, it wouldn't be something that he would do. Now, I give great weight as far as the area that he did it to the really nicely done cairn. I won't show exactly where it is, but I know where it is because I watched Jay Chuck's videos. But a really ornate cairn with perfectly fit rocks, almost like that place Machu Picchu or whatever it's called up there. You know, now who would have done that? An old miner? No, Kenny Veach would have. He did pine nuts here. There was his beloved mine. There's where he left his stuff. Well, it only makes sense that he could have done that cairn. And so it gives great weight that it would be close. It would be close, and it would be a spot not on a route, but a place that you could get over to the side and maybe sit on a rock, at least behind some trees or whatever, and do it. So those are my thoughts. But keep in mind, getting dark and cold at 5 or 6 in the afternoon, no. I say I lean against that he went far. Anyway, that's my thoughts.